Today's tutorial is on how to make a gathered neck gown. So when folding a gathered neck gown, all you need to do is fold the fabric into two like this. Then after that, you form a triangular shape like this. When you fold it this way, it means you already folded the front and the back together, because this is 4. So 2 is for the back, while the other 2 is for the front side. But if you want to add zipper to the back side of your gown, you can decide to just fold it into 2 like this. You form a triangular shape like this. Then you cut the front and the back separately. Even when you don't have the intention of adding a zipper, after cutting one, then you use the already cut one to trace the second one. So that's exactly how we will fold this. So after folding it like this, we only need 3 measurements for this tutorial. We need the neck measurements, the armhole measurements, and the total length measurements. That's what we need here. So the next thing is to measure the neck. So since the neck I want to use here is 2.5, yours may be 3 or 3.5. This is for a teenager. So 2.5, since the neck we have gathers, it means we must not use the normal neck measurements. You must add some inches to it, and that inches you will add to it totally depend on you. It depends on how full you want your own to be, or the amount of fabric you have. So this 2.5 inches, for me, I will add the 2.5 inches multiplied by 2.4, which will give me 6 inches. You may decide to add more to yours, or you may reduce the gathers. It totally depends on how full you want the gathers to look. So I'll measure the 6 inches, the neck measurements. So I want it to give it a curvy neckline. So I have to measure it from the upper part. So from here to here, I will measure 11¼ . Then you connect the lines. The reason why you need to mark it from up here is to give it a curvy shape. You can see it's not straight, so you don't need to shape the neckline. That's exactly how I did it. But you can make your own neckline to be slightly deeper, and it must be longer than the normal neckline. You know, I need 6 inches for the neckline, but the reason why I mark it from 12 inches is because I want a little bit space, so that by the time I want to add the armhole, I will be able to slant it from this neckline to the armhole. Because if I mark from 6 inches, by the time I want to mark the armhole, it will not be easier for me to slant. So that's why you have to make it more than your normal neckline. After that, you measure the total length. It's either you start from here or you start from here. But the best is for you to start from here, because you will cut this out, so you have to minus it from the length. So the best is for you to start it from here, so that you will not be confused. You will deduct 1.5 inches from the armhole. This will decrease the length by 1.5 inches. So it is that 1.5 inches that we will now add to our sleeve. When we cut the sleeve, you will understand this better. They measure the 6½, which is the armhole measurement, starting from the 1½ inches. Since it is like an A shape, so I slant it from the armhole down to the length. And don't forget to add the seam allowance before cutting it out. So for me, I just notch it so that I'll be able to differentiate where the armhole is. But if you like, you can just shape your own from the waist to the armhole like this. If you like. But for me, I did it like an A shape. But if you want to join this type, it's better you start joining from the sleeve side. Then after that, you now join the remaining, like exactly how we join the A shape abaya. So as for the sleeve, what we need to measure first is the bicep measurement. You measure the bicep measurement. The bicep measurement I want to use here is 13 inches. So when we divide 13 inches by 2, it will give us 6.5. And since this will be on fold, so that's why I measured 6.5 inches all through. When you look at the sleeve on the screen, you will notice that the sleeve starts the upper part of the shoulder down to the wrist. So you have to measure your sleeve right from there. You know, when we measure the normal sleeve, we normally start from around the shoulder. But when you look at the image on the screen, you will notice that the sleeve starts from the upper part of the shoulder down to the wrist. So the total length of the sleeve I'm using here is 23 inches. So starting from the upper part of the sleeve, I will measure 1.5 inches. Then you will slant it exactly how we slant the normal bodice. You have to deduct the 1.5 inches as well. So from this 1.5 inches, you connect both lines. You can as well trace it out from the normal bodice we cut earlier. As for the lower part, which is the wrist measurement, the wrist here is 4 inches. Then you trace it to the armhole. Then add your seam allowance. For those of us that have already washed off shoulder, you will understand this, because this will be at this side will be at the shoulder, while this is the armhole. So then you cut it out. After making the gathers, remember to remove the thread of the gathers. You can see the differences between the front and the back. For the front, I already removed the gathers thread, and as for the back, I've not removed it. You can see how it looks like compared to the front. So that's one of the benefits. When you make a gathers, try and remove the thread of the gathers after sewing it, and you will see the effects. It will be more beautiful. I completely forgot to make a video on how to cut the neck because I was rushing to do something else. But inshallah, I will still make a video on the back side.